Hey, this is Dylan with RepairSpots. Today in this video, we're going to be going over inventory and customer import and export and understanding the basics on what we need to do when setting up our export files and import files to be placed into RepairSpots. So to get started, it's very important that you obtain a CSV sample file to start editing from. So from our portal, you can download our CSV samples by going to the Import Tools section and downloading any of our samples here. So let's start by downloading the customers and inventory here. Once we have those two downloaded, we can go ahead and move to our CSV editor. This could be Excel or something along those lines. In this example, we'll be using Google Sheets since it's easily accessible and it will be working just fine for what we're going to use it for. Now, in the iPad, you can also download these CSV samples by going to Settings, Import and Export, and then going to the Import section to see the customers and inventory CSV samples. Once we have those samples, we'll go ahead and move over to Google Sheets where we can continue working on these. So we'll go to Google Sheets and we will open a new blank spreadsheet. Once we have that, we're going to go ahead and import the CSV example that we just downloaded to start working. We'll go to File, Import, Upload, and then we'll go ahead and find a file really quick and drag it over. So once we have that file, drag it in here, and we will import the data. Alright, once you do that, you can go ahead and refresh the page to see the changes. And there you go. By default, we already bring a list of about 300 products, and if you want to use these products, you can go ahead and feel free. Now, for this example, I'm going to go ahead and use a new list that I've already prepared here. So let's go ahead and remove all of these items. Now, it is very important that these categories at the top are not modified by any means. They have to remain exactly the same in order for our software to detect the fields properly and import the data. If these are modified in any of the imports and exports, then you will have discrepancies in the data that's being imported, or it may even fail to import altogether. So do make sure you are using the exact same variables that are used here at the top. Once that's set up, if you wanted to go ahead and start editing this from here, you can feel free to start adding products, prices, costs, and etc. along the lines. So specifically with inventory, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about some of these fields. So for this example, I'm going to import an already made CSV. We'll import that data. Alright, so here we have our inventory list that we're going to be working on. As you can see, the titles for all the categories are still the same. A couple of very important aspects here to keep in mind are first and foremost the SKU. The SKU is our determination for what that product is inside of your inventory. So this is your identifier for any of these products. If you were to export your inventory and you wanted to make changes to your products, maybe you wanted to up the stocks or change a lot of prices at once, then it's very important you use the same SKUs that are already present when you import that data. If you want to create new products, it's important that the SKUs here are unique and do not match any SKUs that are already used inside of your inventory. And for the barcode, the same rule will apply. Now, we will not update an item based on the barcode, but if you do want to scan your barcodes that you print from the system, you do need to make sure that these barcodes are unique. Next, we have our prices and costs, which are simple numbers, so you can use any variable that makes sense in your currency. We have our stock and our low stock, which of course cannot be decimal values. They have to be flat numbers. And we have our taxable value here. Taxable will have to be true or false in all caps based on whether or not you want that product to be able to be taxed at the moment of checkout. So for example, we have these 3 services that we do not want to charge tax for on checkout, so tax is set to false, as so. To the right of that, we have the short title description. The short title description can be used to create your own category within RepairSpots to categorize and show your inventory based on this title. So if we go to the inventory section here, we can go ahead and see that categorization. So for example, we have accessories here, Apple back glass. So based on how we want to organize and show our inventory, we can modify these short title descriptions. And next we have type here. Type is a case-sensitive value that is used inside of RepairSpots to verify where this product is going to be shown when you're creating repair or going to checkout. It's very important that this is used accurately based on where you want your products to be used. So for example, parts, services, and accessories can be found when creating a repair. However, a device is not going to be showing up when you are searching for those parts when creating that repair. So it is important to mark your inventory products correctly. If you're ever curious about what values can be used here, you can always go to our inventory section, and if we go to a new inventory item, we have type here. Simply open up this drop-down menu, and these exact values are what can be used when creating products. So, if it's a part, accessory, service, or other, you would be appropriately using one of these values. Now, once that's all understood, we can go ahead and start editing, making changes to this, and getting ready to import our inventory into the system. Many different tools have different ways to also generate SKUs and barcodes. So you can procedurally generate SKUs based on what you want to use and then follow that structure for all of the products you're creating in your inventory. This will help you keep an organization with everything that you're working on and making sure that you know exactly what is moving through your store. Here we're specifically looking at a list of parts, a few services, and accessories. And then we have a couple different categories for them. Our low stock value is telling us once we reach that mark in a report for low stock that it's below the expected amount that we usually want to have for that item. So it's also important to use low stocks based on when you restock your items. These are not always required. Many of these fields are optional. So if you do not want to include a low stock, barcode, or a category for any of your products, those fields are not required. However, type, SKU, cost, price, the name of the product, and whether or not it's taxable are all required values. So you will have to be using a value of some sort in those fields. Once you finish making changes to your inventory, you can go ahead, move over to RepairSpots. We'll go to our import tool. And on the iOS version, you can also go to Settings, Import and Export to find this tool. And then we'll go ahead and choose Inventory to drag this CSV over and plug it in. So we're going to want to export this CSV from Google Sheets, go File, and then we can go ahead and download as a comma separated values. It's very important that the file type used is .csv. No other file type will be accepted in any of our import tools, so make sure that when you're downloading or exporting your file, you choose the appropriate format. Once we download that, we can go ahead, move over to our inventory, and let's go ahead and import that here. When you choose the correct file, you'll see a list of all the products you're importing down here, and you can go ahead and look through them just to make sure everything looks right. If you want to search for any of these products, you can also search by their name. Once you're done, you'll be able to upload the inventory, and then you'll be able to see them within your inventory. So now if we go to inventory, we'll see any of those parts that we just added. like these batteries. Alright, once we get that out of the way, let's go ahead and move on to working with a customer CSV. So we're going to go through a very similar process. We'll go File, Import, and let's go ahead and drag in our customers. So we downloaded that over here. We drag that in, import the data on a new spreadsheet, and then we can go ahead and open that. So we have a very basic customer CSV list. Again, the same rules will apply, so we have to make sure that all of these values at the top stay the same way they are. We can go ahead and fill out this information. First name, last name, email and phone here are not required. And once that's finished, we can go ahead and move to importing it the same way we just did for inventory. So once you're finished working with this list, again, we will download it as a CSV. Move over to our import tool. And then while customers is selected, we can go ahead and drag that in. Again, we'll see the fields down here for the customers we're adding. We can search for them, and we'll upload this to our shop. And once the upload's completed successfully, we will get this message. Now, if you try to upload the wrong file, or if there's a problem with the CSV you are trying to import, we will get an error. So, to show you what that looks like, let's try to upload the inventory into our customers list. So, here it says we provided the wrong file for customer. So it will not allow us to import this until we choose the proper file with the right variables and details inside of that CSV. If you have multiple shops, you can choose the shop that you're going to be importing into. That way, if you want to import specifically for one shop at a time, you can go ahead and do it, or you can choose to go ahead and import to both. That's it for this import and export tutorial. Hopefully this helps you in understanding how you can manage your CSV files for inventory and customers and moving around to uploading that into our system. Thank you and take care.